Come on, I'm Dee Dee. Yes, honey. I know the weather is crazy over there too, honey. Okay? It's gonna be another motherfucking hot day today. And yes, honey. So I've been up for about a good hour, but still kind of getting up, letting my sinuses and all that kind of do its thing, honey. Let's see. And I know I'm not the only one that I think that's a common thing, especially in my area of California, of sinuses, allergies, asthma. People who have these, conditions because the air quality is not so good. By the way, all throughout California, but particularly in Southern California, baby, the air quality is not great. And so you have asthma, allergies, sinuses. Like, baby, you get fucked up every now and then. Of course, it's better than it was like 4 or 5 years ago. It was like horrible for me, y'all. I felt like I was dying. I was like, oh my God, I can't do it. But of course, through diet, herbal intake, et cetera, not marijuana, things have changed. And so, y'all, I want y'all to check out the blog spot. And of course, I talked about this, esoteric information, forbidden. We're going to discuss things that people are not really talking about on the internet for whatever reason. Maybe they don't want to get blacklisted. Maybe they don't want to be what they call shadow banned. I don't know. For me, I personally don't give a damn. I mean, girl, look at it. I mean, girl, we don't really care. We got a core support group. We got a core. We got certain people that are always here, either watching, interacting, and or paying for products or services. And so I'm just like, girl, the train is going to keep moving regardless. If you're going to hop on, you're going to hop on. If you're not going to hop on, baby, don't hop on. Nobody's threatening. Nobody's forcing. Nobody's upset. I always said this, if I've ever come to a point where I feel like I'm not seeing energetically what I'm putting out, I just won't be on here. That's it. No hard feelings. I'm not going to cuss people out. I'm not going, where's it at? Why are you not do that? Every now and then, y'all have caught me coming on and kind of not reading people, but kind of telling people off because I'm like, baby, don't play in my face. Don't send me a message. Don't say, hey, I want to do this. And I told y'all this goes on a lot. People will actually, and of course this is okay, but I'm pointing this out because, I can express how I feel. And if you don't like it, I don't give a damn, bitch. Either way, there's people that will actually blow you up. And I know you guys deal with this even in your personal life, not even for business. I'm sure you guys have, anybody who offers services or product, you get this. And I'm sure you get this, right? People will hit you up. They'll blow you up. They'll send like 20 messages. Hey, who, ah. Hey, I need it. Hey, I need it. Or hey, I need to talk to you. And then you're like, okay, well, I don't just call people, it needs to be a consultation, reading or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, I'll send over the consultation. Then of course it'll take them like a day or two to send it over. And then you're like, okay, so why were you in need of like blowing me up? Like, why were you blowing up so much? As if this was like an emergency. And especially if you've seen me on here for years, like 2016 for sure, kind of how I work. And then of course, once that's there, it's just like, it's a drag on process. And then they will, now they're expecting something from you outside of their services that they're paying for. And it's just like, no, baby. And I even have to like slap myself for that. Like, girl, no. They pay for this, that's what they get. And well, being that I see you're in a state of distress, let me go ahead and also throw this in or no. I feel like certain people are not ready for certain experiences. I think that people have seen TV shows, people have seen movies, people hear it's trendy to be an astrologist, it's trendy to be a psychic, it's trendy to be, a stone collector, a crystal healer, it's trendy, hibiscus moon, and it's trendy for all this magical stuff now. It's not people's way of life anymore. It's not people, this is how they get by, this is how they survive. This is my way of life, right? It's not about the services that I offer. It's about what I do day to day when it comes to protecting my energy, protecting my mind, protecting my money, protecting my health. Like it's an everyday process. It's not just to be cute. It's not just to get people to follow me. It's not just to get clicks and likes and all that. It's not for that. This is a lifestyle for me. And it has been for most of my life. And so either way, it's like everyone is not ready for that. A lot of people see it, it's entertaining, they're intrigued by it. But are you really ready for the work? It's not just about burning candles, getting crystals, saying words, and it's happening. It's a lot more than that. There's sacrifice that have to be made. And the sacrifice to be you giving up your free time, you giving up your social time, you giving up, what they say, you gotta have your cake and eat it too. You cannot want a better life, but settle for less. That's not how that works. And so for me, that's where it's been at with a lot of people. So of course, like I said, I address concerns and issues to let people know who have done it. Like, baby, I know what you did. And then also the people who are to come, the up and coming, the people that are going to reach out to me, they understand how I work. So they're like, now I know I can't play games with this person. And that's something too, y'all. I've watched other YouTubers, other spiritualists in the past, and they've mentioned how they've had interactions with people. I mean, hell, there's a there's a spiritualist that be out here, girl, reading the kids down every day. Girl, and she'll put your whole full name and put you on blast, read your emails and shit. Yeah, Suzanne Barr, you sent me a message and you said, let me read what y'all said so y'all can get into when I'm about to read this bitch down. And she start going there. Suzanne Barr told me in large caps, hey, you bet not overlook my messages and blah. Girl, bye. So I'm like, I don't do that, y'all. I just let y'all know that we own, and girl, we don't got time for that. And you don't got to worry about me doing no voodoo or hoodoo on you, baby. My spirits will handle your ass as it has done in the past. Hello. When you get out and play with the big girls, you got to put your big girl drawers on. You can't be, wearing polka dots and leopard print and Hello Kitty draws and shit, girl, when you playing with the big girls. That's not how that works. Oh, hello. Anyway, so y'all, on the blog spot, we talked about the ancient, information, and I got to kind of be quick with this, y'all. We got a lot we got to do, girl. Oh my God, told y'all. My car, was doing some weird shit. They, girl. So I got to deal with that this morning. I got to do, go pick it up. Girl, it's a lot. So let me get this out. And so literally, y'all, we are going to be discussing things that are very beneficial. I feel like a lot of people are under a state of psychic attack. I think a lot of people are under, and I'm going to say most people, they're under a state of confusion. And this can also go into like microbes and metal pieces and plastic pieces in the bloodstream. Like, it's a lot with a lot. I don't know. This can go into a lot of things. So people are in a state, because I know people that are vaccinated and non-vaccinated that are both experiencing a fear. They're having anxiety. They're stressed out over what tomorrow may bring. Every day is something new. And so, of course, I always remind people that you're in full control. Even back in the day, you guys, when segregation happened and they were keeping blacks and whites separate, going even before that, when they had rules and laws or women and men could not vote. Do you think that everybody abided by those rules and laws? You think that everybody had to follow those rules and those conditions? If magic exists, if witchcraft exists, you don't think that people utilize these things to get where they need to get to and how they need to get to where they got to? And we can say the modern day people, that's how we survived it, because our ancestors brought us over, because people are going to say, well, that's how our ancestors survived. No, that's not how your ancestors survived. Camaraderie is how they survived. Like I said, when things are beneficial for the counterparts, things appear to be elevating. It seems to be consciously, collectively moving forward. When things are not beneficial to the counterpart, they want to cut all ties. They want to fuck you up. So it looks like there's a reset. It looks like there's a rebound. And that's how that works. So the only reason why people have gotten over and got through these past 1,500 years is because of friendships were formed. Fake connections were formed. So they faked it until they made it. Magic has some influence to it, but everybody was not magically gifted. I believe that. I know that to be true. If your ancestors had the power to do work on their masters to get ahead for a certain group of people, then you would have that same exact magic energy within your body now, and you wouldn't be feeling oppressed. You wouldn't be suppressed, and you wouldn't be feeling like you're left behind. Now let's get into that, okay? And so going into this ancient forbidden esoteric information workshop, we're gonna get into all that. We're gonna talk about some things. I'm gonna share things I deal with you personally. We're gonna address personal blockages, personal concerns. A lot of you are having money problems, health problems, you're having relationship problems, you're having social problems. It seems like when you're trying to get out of the hole keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And a lot of this is generational trauma. It's stored within your bodies. It's stored within your mind. You can't think outside a certain perimeter. You can't think outside a certain box because it has been imprinted in you. And of course, the existence of or the reliving of the trauma that people go through day to day, you can see where their ancestors been through. And a lot of times, it's not even really experiences or trauma, y'all. A lot of times, the stories that have been told, and people take them on as if it's their own. Let me tell you something very quick and very simple about a trans experience. And it's what I knew, what I'm about to say has always been true. So there were stories throughout the years of trans people being taken out, right? Throughout the years, I would say since the beginning of time. And these people have been taken out for different reasons. Some people were taken out because they were vicious, malicious. They did fucked up ass shit. People retaliated against them. Just so happened they were of trans experience. And they were, it was like, oh, they got taken out because they tricked them in. And that wasn't the real story. But for the most part, some people were taken out. We're not going to say for the most part. It's a small percentage of them that were actually taken out because they were just minding their business and somebody just was hateful and did what they did to them. But it always intrigued me how it would be like the brickiest of the brickiest that don't get touched, that nothing happens to them. Girl, I mean, it'd be like bodybuilding trans women that will come out, be in the ghetto, be in the hood, girl, be in Washington Heights and shit, girl, Bronx and shit, broad daylight, doing weird shit. They don't get touched, they don't get disrespected, nothing happened to them. In the same area or within a certain perimeter, the ones that mind their business, the ones that are passable, will get touched. And then of course people are like, well, maybe because the bricky ones, people know what they are, so nothing is going on with them. And then they're like, well, maybe the pretty ones fooled the guy, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no, it's through my experiences and through the people I've known, the conversations I've had with people. And I know some very, very pretty possible transgender women. And I also know some bricky ones. And through the stories that they have shared, it's like, no, it really comes down to energy. It really comes down to how your life, how your spiritual power is above and beyond. Your spiritual power, your identity within yourself. It's not about having love. It's not about having, oh, my ancestors did this. It's about having really spiritual favor. And that's what it comes down to. So a lot of people don't have that spiritual favor. They don't have that spiritual protection. And regardless of how passable you are, how pretty you look, how, safe you may feel or think you are, you're really not. And then the opposite of where you're like, well, they're not really safe. Ooh, they're not really, they're at risk. Ooh, I'm concerned for them. They are. They're protected. They have some type of security within their energy, within their vibration, their vibes and all that. And so that's how I learned that even going into the past, because history repeats itself, that it wasn't always about what people are looking like and how they're giving. Because even going in during segregation and white people passing as being, black people passing as being white, some of these people still encounter racist experiences because somebody, felt something was a little off. Even going into, hell, white women encounter certain things, maybe not as extreme as black women did, and black women still do deal with, but they've also been through things. So it's like, it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you think you're giving. It's what other people are getting from you. Can we talk about it? And so it's very important to know what it is and how to get to it. Okay. And so we're going to get into that. And like I said, these are discussions. We're going to be having discussions that are not going to be, you're not going to find them on the internet like that. You're not going to have them spoke about publicly. A lot of this stuff is hush, 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 hush. Let's not mention it. And even going into the sideline too, y'all, you check out the blog spot, it's on there. I don't go into depth with it because like I said, I really want this to be like kind of like top secret until you're actually in. Because baby, when I tell you, we're going to be discussing so much And just like down to the basic information, like your birthday, the day, the year, and even the month of why you even came into existence. Going into a lot, I mean, even going into the advanced stuff about how you can be anywhere and still be secured and safe in your energy, and how everybody else is, how the rules and laws that are put down are mundane laws and rules, because the mundane laws always change up, y'all. They've always changed. But what stays true and what stays kind of firm is the spiritual laws. They don't change. Spiritual laws don't change. They've been around since the beginning of time. Spiritual laws do not change. You are a spiritual being. The laws that you abide by, the laws that ultimately affect you, are the spiritual laws. The physical laws varies from state to state, city to city, time to time, year to year. And this is why the mundane people are ultimately affected by these rules and these laws. There are people, society, civilization of people that have always went above and beyond any rules that are put in place. And all of you may say, the white people. If that, I mean, that's your mindset. That's your mindset. Through my research and through my knowledge, I know that that's not true. I know there are black people that are far more successful than the common day white folk. And I know there are black people that even during oppression and all the segregation, and even during the times that, black folks were getting lynched and whipped and all this good stuff, there's black people that were not even a part of that. They didn't have to go through that, didn't deal with that. And like I said, it wasn't anything about, well, because they were light skinned. Oh, girl, bye. They got done up too. Sometimes the light skins got done worse than dark skins, baby. Y'all were outside in the fields while the light skins were in there getting whipped on, slapped on, being violated every time the master wanted a piece of that. Like, girl, it was a lot with a lot. And so, like I said, it's about knowing your spiritual power and awakening that. And this is kind of what we've always talked about, what we've always done. A lot of people have taken it and they ran with it and they elevate it and they change. It's like y'all don't see them around because they're living their best life. They're traveling the world. They're doing their thing. And some people, they just taking the classes, taking events, and they're like, oh, that was fun to learn. Like, girl, we're not here just to learn things for fun. We're here to actually learn things and grow. We want to learn what the recipe is so that we can learn, so we can make the cake. Okay? We want to learn the recipe so we can actually make it and enjoy it. We don't want to learn the recipe just to see what it looks like. Oh, I'm curious to know what the cake is looking like. The fuck? That's how we're doing, babe. And that's what I've seen throughout the years. And like I said, I don't have anything personally against anybody, whether you're black, white, conscious, unconscious. That's your business, girl. What you eat don't make me shit. Just because you got something doesn't mean I got it. Can we talk about it? That's the same concept as people trying to get. Oh, I have scabies, so you do too. What? No, I don't. Oh, I have this, you have it too because we look alike. Girl, bye. Your mama. And so either way, we are not all the same. And so even going into these conscious people and people I've seen, I'm stepping outside the race. I'm stepping outside of if it's a man or a woman. I'm getting into the energy. If you're so connected, it's like I said, baby, we go back to the beginning of my birth, of my life to now, baby. I walk the walk. I talk the walk. I walk the talk. Can we talk about it? Anything I talk about spiritually, I can give you an example of my real life. Bitch, you can do a background check on me. I have an FBI clearance. I want to point this out. I have an FBI clearance that has to be redone every 2 years. Okay? An FBI clearance, baby, that's worldwide. You cannot run from that. They know what you were when you first was born, regardless of your name change, your gender change. They know you, babe. They know your grandparents' name. They know your daddy's name. They know your mama's name. They know all that. So, baby, like I said, I practice what I preach, what I speak about. I know because I've experienced it. It's not about what people told me. Because if it was about what people told me, my life story would be like these other people. Oh, y'all, I was in and out of jail. I filed bankruptcy. Yeah, girl, there was a time where I was addicted to crack. Girl, bye. There was a time where I was addicted to pills. Girl, bye. Spirit has always been acknowledged in my life. And there was a reason why I was taught about spirit at a young age. Whether it was Christianity, whether it was Judaism, whether it was Buddhism, I was still taught about spirit. And that has always stayed, that has always stayed with me. Because when you have a calling, babe. And nothing could stop that. Yes, you go through the darkness because even when Jesus died, he was in hell for a couple of days and then he rose up out of that. Can we talk about it? Jesus walked through hell too. But In the process, Jesus was not out here paying for no prostitutes while he was in motherfucking hell. He wasn't doing shit that was against his nature while he was walking through hell. He was walking through hell, baby, but he wasn't out here fucking and sucking on the devil while he was walking through hell. Can we talk about it? Or is that a little too deep for y'all? So I don't have to be a crackhead to minister to crackhead. I don't have to be a $2 hoe to minister to $2 hoes. I don't have to be a baby mama to be able to minister to baby mamas. That's not how that works. The Holy Spirit supersedes all that. And like I said, I have it in me, you have it in you. You just have to awaken it. You just have to tap into that. And so, like I said, the blog spot has the class, has information on this workshop. June 20th is on a Friday. Okay, y'all. June 20th is on a motherfucking Friday, and we're gonna be doing it. Of course, it's gonna be 2 different days for the event. It will be live. I need to see everybody's face who's going to be up in it. I'm also gonna get into not speculations, specifications of what the rules are when you are up in there, and it's gonna be done either via Zoom, or it's gonna be done in the studio on StreamYard. But I'm gonna tell you what I'm okay with, what I'm not okay with. Because a lot of times people doing their little things, girl. We're not gonna get into that. This information is meant for those who actually are ready for it. And I feel like they're ready for the information. The opportunities present itself. So going into the pricing and all that, everybody ain't gonna be able to pay for that pricing. But if you're smart, you would have been saving. If you're smart, when the pandemic first hit, people were afraid that the money was going to collapse. People were afraid that there was going to be shortages of a lot of stuff. Girl, I went into hustle bustle hoarding mode when it came to shit. Can we talk about it? Girl, I was sleeping 3 hours tonight and getting up to work because I was like, oh, girl, I got to get this money while I can. They might try to pass a lot of stuff. We can't do none of this. Girl, if the mint was being shut down for a couple of days, y'all, they were a shortage of quarters, nickels, and dimes and pennies. You don't think that PayPal would have had a shortage of people working there? You don't think Cash App would have had a shortage of people working there? Like, this is what it comes down to. So I need y'all to understand that, baby. You prepare yourself, and even the spirits come in and say, hey, you need to do this and that. So if you're ready for it, the opportunity presents itself. If you're not ready for it, you gotta say, oh, I wish I could do it, but I really can't. Ooh, listen. June the 20th, girl, you got 2 weeks. You got 2 weeks, honey. Maybe a little bit less than that, maybe a week and a half. Baby, do what they do and make it happen. You can do it. As a side note, y'all, and I'm gonna really be done. I always say that, but I'm really gonna get up out of here. Something that I find interesting, and I was having a conversation with this about a sister, with a sister. We were talking about this. And I said, oh, it's the Miss Cleo syndrome. And that's what I'm gonna start calling it, Miss Cleo syndrome. So I find it very interesting that we have the Destiny Swamp, spiritual psychosis being kind of like pushed out there. I mean, you have some, white folks talking about it, but you have black people like really pushing it, really emphasizing it. And I'm that girl because I walk by, I put my magic where my mouth is. So if I'm speaking about something magically, I can do it. And I think that all things are possible, so that means that we can do a lot. Hello? And so either way, I'm always thinking about people who talk about the ability to do stuff, but they don't do it themselves. And I'm like, damn, if you have all this power and you have this ability, why are you not doing it yourself? And so something that was very interesting to me, y'all, is that they've always talked about it being a stimulation, right? And I'm not saying that AI is influencing this, but I feel like there's some type of tea with this. Because allegedly I watched a TikToker. We talk about the Destiny Swamp and, girl, they've been talking about that for about at least, 2 years now? It's been like really emphasized for the past year. But either way, we're sitting here I'm watching this video that's on Facebook that was shared from TikTok. And there's a black girl in a bonnet, which that doesn't matter. But I always ask, why is it never like the Jasmine Crockett? Why is it never the, Candace Owens? Why is it never, the Mary J. Bliges? Why is it never, girl, there's a lot of intelligent, successful black women and black men out there. Why is it never these people that have these encounters that are like so magical, so mysterious, that's like beyond belief? Why is it always certain type of people? And of course, like I said, that's their business, not mine. I just have to point that out. And so this lady has a bonnet on and she's in the middle of nowhere and she's walking backwards and cars and stuff are going around her, which tell me that these people are, whatever. We're not getting into that. But she was alluding that these cars were appearing out of nowhere. And then the person who's presenting the video was going into, the commentator, another black woman, and she's talking about how she realized that we live in a simulation and that every since we actually put together. She's giving examples, and she's saying, when you go into the grocery store, it's empty, and then you look up, now the store is busy. Of course, that have happened to me before, but that does not happen no more. And then, of course, you start asking questions, you realize it's not really spiritual, it's not really a stimulation, it's just how things are. Stores, just like anything else, just like traffic, have up and down. They have peak hours, they have low hours. Every time throughout a certain day, sometimes throughout the day, stores get busy, they don't get busy. Now, if you actually work at a store and you said that, I would believe that, but that's not your story. But either way, they were saying that, even going into like groceries, you never seen your neighbors carry groceries in. And I'm just like, who has never seen their neighbors carry groceries in? Like, I mean, first of all, unless you're a nosy ass neighbor any fucking way, which I'm not, okay? I'm not checking to see what you're doing. What the neighbor, what they doing? What they doing? Let me grab my binoculars. Yeah, wait, is that a bag? Oh, hell no. Girl, mind y'all business. And I keep telling y'all be saying that white folks are nosy. I don't believe that. I think black folks are nosy. And I say that with love. I think black folks are nosy. When you step into a place, y'all, and some pop up to kind of confirm my theory. When you step into a building, it will be everybody. You can point out all the black people when you step into a building every time, because they be their eyes and face be staring at you. And it's not because, girl, just for me, I'm like, everybody can vouch this. This is trans, gay, black, white, Christian, short, tall. Baby, they're like checking you out. And my sister was telling me it's because black people think they know each other. And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't know if I agree with that or not. Like, I think that black people are just very observant. I think they're very curious. And even going into the sexual stuff, that's why I think there's a lot of DL black men. They're very curious to know what it's like to have a boot in it, that type of thing. And so either way, I'm like, girl, I'm not nosy and I've seen my neighbors carry groceries, but like, it's like, but are you out and about? And I even asked the person who said this, are you like low income? Do you go to work? Do you go to school? Do you just sit in your house all day? Because you're sitting in your house all day and you're on TikTok or YouTube, you're not going to see your neighbors carrying groceries. If you're out and about living your life, yes, you're going to see your neighbors carry groceries. Just like at the grocery store. If you've been to the grocery store in the morning, at night, and midday, you're going to see some days it's empty, some days it's not. But it has nothing to do with you because you thought about it and it happened. Because if you truly believe in that, which I do, that your thoughts create things, then you also have the ability to get out of your life and circumstances. You're also able to get out for wherever. You're able to move out of the project. You're able to get your new house, your new car, get you a new man. You don't got to have baby daddy drama. There won't be a lot of single black women out here. Like, there's a lot that go into if you truly believe that you are in a simulation and you can create your reality. And then the whole thing about tapping into that code, well, your ancestors tapped into it. The only code that there is, and I always tell you, is that you're spellbound. You're under a spell. You're under a hex. You're under a spell. That's the only code you need to break. That's the only thing you need to break. Curses, hexes, jinxes, bad luck, these are all codes. What you got to understand is that we're all computing devices. When it comes to software, you have to code software. Software coders and programmers make a lot of money. Catch this drift without me getting into the key. So the only code you need to be decoding and breaking up is what they put on your motherfucking ass for the past 200 motherfucking years. That's the code you need to figure out. That's who you need to figure out who they got it from too. Because even going into magic, y'all, can we talk about it? Because all this is natural. All this is nature. Nature, right? Nature. It's impossible for an apple to be an orange. It's impossible for a man to become a woman, right? It's impossible. Right? Let's get into it. It's impossible for a white man to steal a black person's magic if it wasn't their magic to begin with. In nature, you guys, sea otters, polar bears, raccoons, and other natural animals that are not connected to humans day to day, they know the cry of their babies. They know when their pups are crying that it's their babies that are crying based on their tone. Better yet, humans. When a baby has bonded with his mother and there's a connection, either you have an identical twin, your child will know you from your fucking twin. So what you're not gonna tell me and convince me as an intelligent motherfucking human being is that a white man could come into your country or come into your culture, learn your gifts and crafts, and use it against you, and you can't use the same fucking gifts and crafts to fuck him over or fuck him up. That's not how that works, babe. If that's your magic, that's nature. Girl, that'd be like even, girl, any type of coding, any type of thing, girl. That's like opening up a lock with your fingerprint. It's like using a specialized pen to check your voicemail. Girl, you're trying to tell me that a white man matched your fingerprint up on that doorknob and he was able to unlock and scan and get up out of that? You're telling me that the white man was able to guess your personalized pen that you created to get into your voicemails? Make it make sense. This is your magic. And we were even talking the other day too, and I don't know if I should say this publicly, but I'm gonna say it. Are there any diaries of African slaves in the South that were speaking their dialect of African? And don't tell me it was Swahili, because they took these Africans from all over Africa, predominantly the West Africans, and their languages were all different. Are there any diaries, like Anne Frank had a diary of Africans writing in their native tongue? Are there any stories of that? Is there any written diary? Like I said, I want to see diaries because allegedly they couldn't read or write. So you're telling me the ancient Africans couldn't read or write? You're telling me the modern day Africans know how to read and write and have ways of communication because of colonizers, even though they're indigenous still to their language and their culture? Better yet, y'all, where did fried chicken come from? How did fried chicken become a staple of Black culture? I would like to know that. How did fried chicken become a staple of African American culture? I would like to know, how did Ebonics, because going into Ebonics and stuff, and this being a Black language, they call Black people Nubians. Who, how, why did Ebonics come about? Because let me tell you what I personally think Ebonics is. I think Ebonics is Southern broken English. Because if you really think about it, those white folks that was cast out of the Europe, that's why they came over here and did their little thing. They were cast out. They made a pilgrimage out of Europe because the churches kicked them out of Europe. They didn't know how to read and write themselves neither. Because y'all, even going into California, I know country white folks that sound like they're from Europe and shit. I was even telling this to my sister the other day. I had a neighbor who was from this country bumpkin ass city in Central California. And this lady was like, "Oh yeah, can you pass me the like, girl, mama act like she was from London or something." And I said, "Excuse me, man, where are you from?" And she said, "What do you mean where I'm from? I'm from California." I was like, "You're from California?" And I'm standing like this, and she's like, and I'm like, "But where's your accent from?" And she's like, "I really don't know. I don't know, because I'm from, And I'm like, girl, that doesn't make sense to me. There's a lot of them, y'all, that sound like that. And so in my mind, I'm like, so Ebonics and all this little slang talk is not Black folks not knowing proper English. That's the story they told y'all. It's y'all imitating what your master sounded like. They didn't sound intelligent. Bitch, if you took a Black Southern person, a white Southern person, they got on the phone, you couldn't know them. You couldn't know the difference. You wouldn't know that's a Black woman, a white woman, a Black man, a white man talking. It sounds the same, girl. It sounds the exact fucking same. All Alabamians sound the same. All Floridians sound the same. Can we talk about it? It doesn't matter if you're white, Black. It sounds the motherfucking same. So you're telling me that you have what did it say? African American centralized language. There was another thing the person said, ASCL, African American specialized language. Somebody said something crazy. I'm like, I've never heard of that. And then I'm like, but if you learn English from the white man, that means you're basically speaking his language, but you're only calling it Ebonics because it's Black speaking that. Because you're Black speaking that. If you really invented that and that was really your own language, you would have called it something totally different. Nubionics, Nubonics, binaural beats. That's what you would have called it. But they call something else binaural beats. They call something else Nubic, Nubonic beats. Can we talk about it? Or is that a little too deep for y'all? And so I'm thinking to myself, like, where are we really going collectively Where are we really? What are we really doing? What are we really becoming? What are we really doing collectively? Because there's a lot of rhetoric that speak back and forth between the masters and the handlers and the slaves and the ones that are held against their will. And it's kind of like, girl, what's really going on here? I don't see any different individuality. I don't see any different frequencies. I see it all the same. And even going deeper than that, y'all, they say that voodoo is African. Why doesn't Africans practice the same type of voodoo as the Caribbean blacks and the Americans practice? Huh? Hello? Why don't they practice the same type of magic? Why is this something totally different? Why is this something totally different if it's the same? Because like I said, spirituality doesn't change. Spiritual laws, spiritual people practice spiritual laws. Spiritual laws don't change. Only mundane ones do. So how is it that you're able to practice something that you're not a part of, or practice something that's totally different from what it is, but still call it the same name? But when it comes down to a man pretending to be a woman, there's an issue with that. When it comes down to a woman pretending to be a man, there's an issue with that. How does that affect us collectively? What does affect us collectively is saying we speak Ebonics. What does affect us collectively is thinking that the slaves that were in the South came only from Africa or came from Africa and they were stolen. That does affect us collectively. We're seeing the trauma right now. We see it go on. But like I said, an apple pretending to be an orange does not affect us collectively. What one person do with their body and their mouth does not affect you collectively. It only affects you collectively because when you're insecure with who you are, you're worried about everybody else. When you don't know who you are and understand who you are, you're concerned about what other people got going on. And I'm gonna make this loud and clear too, because people have this idea that I hate non-binary people. Non-binary is not a sexual orientation; it's an identity, and that's for yourself. God was non-binary. God is a non-binary entity. Angels are non-binary entities. I think it's very demonic and very low frequency as a human or a spirit having human experience to then put on not your spirit being non-binary, but that your physical body is non-binary and try to make it seem like you're some superior being when you're not. And when I say you think you're superior, is that you sue people for calling you him instead of them or they. That's what we used for God back in the day. We call God them and they. We say he, she, them, and they. That's what we use for God. That's what we use for the angels. How ironic is it that when they start talking about God as a woman, and my sister pointed this out yesterday, God is a woman, and they start having all these ideas, and all of a sudden, girl, people, I'm non-binary. We're all non-binary in essence. We are. But in this world, in this mundane age, girl, something you have to, like, girl, what is feminine and what is masculine? Yes, you can embody both energies at the same time, but when it comes down to sex, there's only two sexes, male or female. And of course you have hermaphrodites, but ultimately something is still more prominent than the other, right? And so we still have a identity. It's not, well, sometimes I just say, okay, that's all of us, girl. They say that idea, sexual attraction changes, right? And it doesn't change because you're confused about who you are. It changed because your essence grow. It's shifting. It's fluid. So like I said, everybody's gender fluid as well. And it's like, girl, that's an idea that these people who don't believe in God is putting out there. And you're pulling and you're tapping on that. You're pulling and you're tapping on that. So like I said, I don't have a problem with non-binary people. That's never been my issue. I don't have a problem with trans men, trans women. That's never been my issue. I got a problem with gay people. That's never been my issue. Clearly, I'm part of the motherfucking community. Hello? I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with you using words that are not your own and making it up as if you're own, and you're fighting people because somebody told you. Rather be like somebody tell you that you're the most beautiful thing that walked this earth. And all these years you were like, well, I'm an okay person, but because one person pumped your motherfucking head up or 20 people did, you're going around calling everybody ugly. And you look ugly as fuck. Like, girl, make it make sense. You ugly, you call other people ugly, but because a group of people called you the finest thing on this fucking planet, you're delusional and you want to fight people about how ugly they are. Girl, what? Make it make sense. And that's what it has come down for me. And I gotta go to my, I know my, girl, hold on. It was nice chat with y'all YouTube. I gotta go, girl. My girl, I gotta go get my seat, girl. I gotta go. Love me. Come on, Levy. Yes, come on in here. Debbie, not brickies. Yes, honey, come on in here. I got a valid. Ooh, I'm glad you said spiritual favor. Come on in here. It's true, it is true. It is true, girl. How do people survive life without a lot of things? People could have, would have, but didn't become. Make it make sense. Anyway, y'all, I gotta go, y'all. I'll be back, okay, y'all? We'll be talking again later, y'all. Bye for now. Love and light.